following moments may contain explicit language.
It starts with a quarter, a phenomenon that had to happen when the TV set married the computer.
We're in the arcades.
An old favorite is back.
We've played every game until we're bored of it.
In arcades across America, pinball is bouncing back.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program. Once again, Dee Roby and I are joining you live amidst the flashing lights and the myriad of sounds from 9 3/4 Pinball Arcade in SoCal, California. But not as always. Today, on the show, we are joined by a true multi-talent in the world of pinball. You probably know her from her work in pinball media, live streams, tutorials, and tech coverage, but that's just the start. She's built a reputation as one of the most approachable and knowledgeable figures in the scene, helping players and collectors alike keep their games running and their passions alive. You can find her across countless platforms, where her name has become synonymous with energy, expertise, and a genuine love for the game. Please welcome the one and only Imoto Harney. Imoto, how are you doing?
I'm doing so great after an introduction like that. My gosh, you made my hands all sweaty. I'm like, man, I have to live up to this intro. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on y'all's show. Super excited.
I'm happy to have you here. I know we both are. Yeah, no, you deserve it, because I gotta say, I first discovered you as a pinhead myself, primarily through your pretty much obvious love of media and filming. It seems like for as long as I have ever seen your public image, you have been associated with having a camera in your hand or being in front of the camera. And so how did your background in cinematography start? Did cinematography or pinball start first? How did that all come to be?
Oh man, cinematography has been a part of my life for the entirety of my life. My camera growing up was my best friend. Like I had a little 8mm camera, like the high 8 tapes and stuff, and going with as technology changed. But I learned at a very young age that I really loved documenting the moment and seeing things through the lens and, the power of communication that comes with it. So really, when my freshman year in high school, I took a broadcasting class and the light bulb clicked, being like, oh, I can make a career out of this thing that I do all the time anyway. Going in like, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a vet or something, And I was like, wow, I can pursue cinematography professionally. And so I started doing that immediately, from recording bands at age 14 and 15 to doing weddings, small mom and pop shop documentary commercials and stuff. Yeah, everyone does weddings, and power to the people who stick with it, because I got out of that as quickly as possible. That is a very high stress level job. There's so much riding on your shot, and it's always one of those things where it's like, right when your memory card's going to get full or your batteries are going to die, it's during that moment. So you learn a lot about being prepared through that too, which has become a very good skill to have. But yeah, so working professionally, basically, making money for my craft since I was 15. And then when I was about 19 or 20, I incorporated. So Captain Crazy Productions, based out of Atlanta, Georgia. And I started that up with my brother, where we would shoot short films, music videos, documentaries, pretty much anything that needed to be created. We were there to figure it out and create it. So he does a lot of sound, audio engineering now. So I come in with the camera, he comes with the sound. We direct and produce everything. And I would not be doing anything else. This is my life is revolved around the lens. So long story short, traveling as a cinematographer, and arcades started making a huge comeback in around 2011. Sort of Galloping Ghost was the first arcade that I went to in the resurgence. And I was with my brother. We were actually shooting a horror movie up in the Chicago area for several months, and lived in Gary, Indiana, because that is the most cinematic, rust, dust, and dirt city ever. But we found Galloping Ghost, and that blew my mind. He had at the time, like maybe 150, 200 games crammed into this big warehouse room where everything was on free play for like 10 or 20 bucks. And it was like all the old classics that you remembered, and like walking through Doc Mac's row of games was just like, oh my God, my heart, So, and ever since then, so we shot a little video being like, oh man, arcades are making a comeback. Come check it out. And as I traveled, I started a YouTube channel as Imoto Arcade. And the whole purpose was to showcase all these arcades coming up in all these different cities and stuff, and encouraging people to come check it out, Little montages like, look at this cool place, come visit and everything. And at the time, I was mainly into video games. When I grew up in the arcade in middle school and high school, it was a fighting game era. It was the dancing game era. So it was a lot of like Soul Calibur and Tekken Tag and Dance Dance Revolution. So I had very little experience with pinball. And it's funny when I look back at some of my videos from maybe around 2015 when I started getting into pinball. Before that, it's like, oh, check out this cool Initial D cabinet. Oh, and there's some pinball over there. But then check out this thing over here. And it's like, looking back, I'm like, no, I want to see what pinball machines they had. What the heck? Why didn't I focus on that? Now pinball is like 100% of my life. Like I went down the rabbit hole really fast.
I have a similar story. I grew up in the Mortal Kombat Street Fighter era. And so that's what I was doing in arcades back then. I mean, I played some pinball, right? But typically I would go play pinball if I got bored because I had just been playing way too much Mortal Kombat, basically, right? So I get a couple of games in. Like I remember specifically which cabinets were at the boardwalk in Santa Cruz when I was at that age. Like I was not. There was a T2 right next to Addams Family, right next to Totan, where I used my actual haunt, where I used to hang out in Scotts Valley at Special Effects Arcade. Actually had a Shadow, which I own one now too. So I'm pretty stoked on that.
Those
memories are great.
One.
Yeah, it's come along pretty good too.
I love that game so much.
I do too. I can't say enough about it. Yeah, obviously, you mentioned that your films typically take on a documentary style. I'm specifically referencing here your 2018 project, Meat Project Pinball. How did you get involved with that?
Well, for those who don't know, Project Pinball is a great charity group that provides pinball machines to children's hospitals and Ronald McDonald's hot houses all over the country. And I met them pretty early on at some arcade show. Most likely it was Arcade Expo or something like that. And really fell in love with their mission. Daniel Spolar is an awesome human being, and his partner in the charity, Sierra, is super great with what they're doing. And they asked me one time to come shoot one of their celebrations, dedications. So when they bring in the pinball machine and then they kind of have a little celebration where it's like, cutting the ribbon, there's the pinball machine here, and the doctors come and the patients come and they get to try out the game and everything. The emotional impact of that was huge. And seeing firsthand how it was really benefiting everyone's lives that had to go through those hospitals or Ronald McDonald's houses, I was like hooked.
Sure.
Let's capture more of this story together. And that particular documentary piece was pretty heartfelt because we ended up focusing on a particular family where they lost their son too soon for cancer, and he was really big into pinball, and Daniel was restoring a World Cup soccer for him because that was his favorite sport to play. And their entire family and friends came out during this memorial service, at the hospital. And just amazing people, so much love in the room just to, keep Tyler's, life and memories alive through this pinball outlet. It's just super cool.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So I love documenting stuff like that. It's just beautiful stories. It deserves to be kind of permanent in history.
Yeah. So I just wanted to create kind of what you were talking about earlier about your brother and yourself, right? Doing these kind of projects and films and whatever. but out of a place of need, right? It's like you felt like these places needed, or these messages needed to be told, right?
Right.
And that's an amazing thing, because I kind of like, the way I have digested a lot of your content is I come from a background of conservation biology, my degree is in marine biology. And within the sciences, you know, you have like the scientists who are doing this research, and then you have science communicators who are able to like take that message and reiterate it in a very like digestible way and to get it out there to the masses. And like, I see like when you do the pin tech thing, you have like these guys who might not be super social, and they're just like, yeah, I know a lot of stuff, but like, I don't know how to say it to someone, and I don't want to record myself. And then all of a sudden you come in and you're like, hey, check it out. Like, and you have this curiosity and excitement, and you're just, yeah, check. And then all of a sudden it like opens them up a little bit to give their information, you know, and it really helps. Like, I remember watching like one of those Baywatch, like DMD or something. Listen, that was the same problem I was having, and I got to just sit there like moment for moment doing exactly the same thing, being so excited that you were able to help like get that message out, you know? So it's like really cool. I see you in there as like filling this void that was needed to like get those communication like out there.
Yeah, it is.
So much like knowledge now, because of our amazing community doing so much community service and upkeeping. We have like pinwiki.com and, you know, a constant stream of tech videos on how to help people. I mean, like, who hasn't watched a Todd Tuckey video on diving into a game? You know, he's been around for a really long time. Even one of my first interviews I ever did, again, before I was even into pinball, because he's amazing. But it's just, yeah, documenting that information just seems so necessary. Like, it almost gives me like anxiety if I'm not documenting it, you know, because it's like, what happens, that little tidbit of information that, you know, we could shoot for 2 hours, but there's like 15 seconds of that one info bomb that's dropped that you're just like, oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
And you bring that in with your tech skills and stuff later on. Like, it's all for those little micro moments. And I just love helping capture them and helping give people a forum to show their skills and to teach us, you know, like I am still learning, teching my own games and other people's games and stuff now, thanks to these amazing people like Kyle Spiteri and Eugene Mosh and Matthew Talley and Phil Forrester. Like, the list goes on. Nick Shell with his EM stuff. Like, I don't have that knowledge, but they do. So I try to, you know, build my relationship with these amazing people. One, because they are amazing and super knowledgeable, but two, to help build their confidence and comfortability to be able to let me shove a camera in their face. Definitely, as I'm a lot older, I'm more cognizant about kind of just shoving cameras into people's faces. Now I'm more aware and more like sensitive about that. You know, people don't necessarily like it. In my 20s, I'm like, you know, MTV, like, yeah, what's up? I'm getting out of your face. I don't care if you acknowledge or approve or whatever. Now it's like, you know, I want people to be comfortable when they're filming, and, you know, that's how you get the best results too. And the information they're sharing with us is just so amazing that, yeah, man, I'm learning so much about it, like everything. Like, being able to work on my own games is purely because of creating content like the pinball, like PinTech Live, tech streams, and all the seminars and stuff we do at shows. It's an awesome reward. We all win sort of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, from my end, it's like, you know, we're keepers of the electric flame, like keeping these things illuminated and running so that people can come in and like play them and get their like release, and you see the smile on their faces. You're like, hell yeah. Like, you know, it's my job to keep that thing functioning so people can come and like get after it and play it. Yeah.
There are certainly some interesting parallels too, right? I mean, you're interested in documentary filmmaking in particular, right? Like capturing moments that are otherwise going into the ether, and that's it, right? And restoring or keeping alive pinball machines that create moments that only exist once and then end up into the ether.
So
Yeah. It's just, I mean, it's a, I mean, I'm just noticing it as an interesting theme. More, or as notably, I should say, you mentioned Todd Tuckey, and I know you worked with him on Skill Shot Baby, which is something that I thought was fantastic. I'm sure you get asked about it all the time.
Yeah, I do. So we shot the short film, which was the sort of the pilot scene for the movie to pitch it to get to the next step. And it was such a great moment working with Todd on a narrative structure. Like truly the script that we wrote during COVID was not necessarily, it was three of us worked on the script together, and it was kind of a coming of age story of a guy who his father recently passed away, and he uncovered his old pinball machine that they were supposed to work on together. So he decided to kind of go down that journey and learn how to work on his game. And there's kind of like this, he meets this arcade operator that kind of takes him under his wing and shows him the ropes and everything like that. And like, as we were writing it, like in the back of my head, I'm like we're literally writing Todd Tuckey in a nutshell right here. So I was working with some other filmmakers that I hadn't worked with too much before. And so we went the traditional route of like doing casting calls for professional actors and stuff. And I'm just like, man, I need to get Todd to read for this. I need to get Todd to read to this. And, you know, the director and the producer, one of the other producers were trying to do their final decision on these actors. And I was like, before we make a final decision, can I just send this scene to Todd and have him read it out loud? And I actually sent it to him, and he like did it for me during one of his live streams. Like he was actually live streaming at his office and read it out. And it was like, oh, it gave me chills. Like he read it so perfectly, and it was so much passion in it.
No joke.
It was beautiful.
He was good.
Yeah.
Really good.
So unfortunately, for lots of wild rides and unpreventable circumstances, we couldn't pursue doing the feature film anymore. There is always like an opportunity in the future where I can take that script and rewrite it into something else and then pursue it on my own with another group, or just create a completely different story. I definitely want more narrative pinball stories.
It'd be great.
It would be really great. But during that kind of crisis where that project, it was becoming more apparent that that project wasn't going to ever happen. Pinball, The Man Who Saved the Game came out. And that is a beautiful film, the Roger Sharp biopic. And that helped satiate my anxiety of there needs to be a narrative pinball movie out there that's not just the freaking Brooke Shields Tilt movie from way back when and Tommy, you know?
Right.
Like the gap is huge. Right. So, and then at that same time of all of this happening too, you know, The Man Who Saved the Game came out, and then my family decided that we were going to take me and my brother's Ace's retirement plan in 20 years or so and speed it up forward and make it my parents' retirement plan. And we decided to open up an arcade together in Lower Alabama. So I immediately, you know, diverted all my attention towards opening up an arcade. You know, that's not where I'm working with Marco and, you know, Stern and doing other pinball stuff. You just stack more pinball on top of it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think that's the goal or the dream. We're 2/3 of us are here, so you know we're pretty good. Let's go to some fun lightning round pinball questions. How does that sound? Lightning flipper round. Lightning flipper round. There you go.
I got my little Ben's Arcade lightning flipper on my hats.
You know,
Right, exactly. In fact, I wanted to do a giveaway with some of those. Because I live stream pinball every week, and I was like, you know what? I'm always trying to rep how like California just doesn't get enough representation, right, in pinball. Like I'm always bitching about this, and so I'm like, you know, I'm just gonna make
and it's coming soon.
Give pinheads the lens flippers and be like, if you want to know what it's like to play here, this is your shot, right?
Out of the lens, Marco does the lens pack, right? Where they're like, identify your mission.
The men's kits. That was a fun one to make on the Marco page.
Like scissors to cut all the rubber off your machine.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All
Definitely.
right. In your opinion, most underrated machine?
Hard body, obviously.
Damn, that's a good
Great
one.
answer.
We just talked about.
Great answer.
It's also the
just made
best
it-
pinball machine ever made, but most
It's
people
so, it's
underrate it.
mental, yeah, it's like a mental plasticity thing, you know? Can you close those things?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah.
And when you're doing
you
it,
feel
it's
like a ninja.
actually like a visceral reaction. Like you are actually like flexing your abs and you're like trying to hit it. Any game that like elicits some sort of visceral reaction like that, I love. Like Shadow, having to switch the buzz around and stuff. Like
Love it. Yeah.
keeps you on your toes.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does.
Pinball visceral again.
Yeah.
Visceral pinball.
If you, what would be a dream collaboration in pinball for you? You've had quite a few collaborations, so I'm curious what your answer will be.
Golly. That's a hard one. Yeah. Working with Todd Tuckey was huge. Being able to host Roger Sharp and spend some time with him was amazing. George Gomez is such a brilliant person, and I love every interaction that I have with him. And it's been, I don't know, like freaking, I love working with Marco. That's a dream collaboration because
Sure.
Mark Battletorch, his original mission is like my life goal. And it's really just, keeping pinball out of the landfill. That was like his motto. And he was super huge on documenting educational material. And he actually helped me buy my first pinball machine, which happened to be hard body.
Oh, that's awesome.
He was a mentor for me for many years and really pushed me hard to focus, a lot of my efforts on, helping with the educational front and pinball in general and pinball repair and just documenting pinball history, anything to help keep it alive. But with that, we partner with Stern Pinball at shows to anytime there's a new game release. So since 2019, I've been working with them both. So King Kong just released. So we had created like a giant structure with a 20-foot King Kong being like caged up and the games all around it. And Godzilla, we had like a 30-foot Godzilla inflatable. And then we took the Stern pinball boxes and like stacked them on top of each other and roped them and skinned them to look like buildings and put that all around Godzilla. And then the pinball machines around that. So it was like he was destroying the buildings in the city and creating those environments for people to learn about pinball, to enjoy it, and to create memories together has been so extremely rewarding. Like you build it and, we're all like tired of shit and hustling to get everything looking really great. And then you see like the first guests walk in and, beaming with smiles with each other, enjoying a game and, creating memories together. It's like, yep, it's all worth it right there. Just for that family bond that just happened, like, let's go, So those have been dream collaborations for me that we're already doing. I would love to be able to focus more of my attention on the educational side, trying to get more kind of short form reels of pin tips. Basically, that was like Mark's big thing. Like, do these little micro pin tips, always clean your balls, don't set glass on the floor, little things like that go a long way. So that's the collaboration side, is with working with skilled techs and being able to document more of what they do and everything. Like Golden State Pinball Festival has been really awesome because they've allowed me to kind of take full control over their pinball university program. And California is just the plethora of amazing pinball people. Like, it's my favorite ever. From the south up to the north, like every little pocket, San Diego, LA, Seaside, the Bay, Sacto, everywhere. everyone in California is so amazing, and being able to spend time with them to create a whole seminar track for the weekend and keep growing that has been awesome. Like we have Chris Kuntz, the legendary pinball pirate, doing seminars with us, and we're recording it, and the internet there sucks. So we're not live streaming it, but we're posting it later. And having those sort of moments are really exciting. And even this year at Pinball University, we did MF Sunday School. So it was like Monterey Flipper Sunday School. So a lot of the Monterey Flipper pinball people and the folks that hang out at Lynn's Arcade volunteered their time on Sunday to do little micro classes. So we had about 10 to 12 teachers, and each of them had their own sort of skill set, which is like either pinball play, so like learning flipper skills, or like go with Matthew and learn rules, you know, or go with Kyle and learn pinball troubleshooting, you know, and try to get all the different aspects. Go with Erica and learn about pinball content creation and how to do that, you know. And it was really awesome seeing everyone come together and like literally just volunteer their time for their weekend that they're there to like party and have fun, to donate a few hours to the community to help share their knowledge and skills. So doing stuff like that is awesome. And I just hope to continue that path and to keep growing it.
Yeah, I gotta say that the communal aspect of everything is what keeps me coming back to the well. Like, you know what I mean? Like
absolutely,
there are a lot of ways to find family, right? But like it's interesting when like something very specific is bringing us all together. And there are so many things about what this specific thing is. Like it can be cliche in a lot of places, but in pinball, it's specifically odd how many people I meet that I probably would never meet or interact with or have an intelligent conversation about something with when it comes to pinball. And then there's just so much on the outskirts of it all, right? So much charity, so much lending each other hands, so much everything that goes on around it that like keeps this very expensive hobby that we all have really not only worth the time, but worth whatever effort it demands of you, I think. And that's my take on it. But it's just, I think I'm in good company with you.
It's a beautiful, magical thing. You know, I've been in a lot of gaming communities over the years, and the pinball community by far is the best. You know.
Yeah,
once I was in, it's like, this is family right here.
Yeah. So speaking of collabs, dude, I just thought if you still have access to those King Kongs and Godzillas, I just had a dude from Coachella come here yesterday, and I was just thinking, like, how sick would a retro gamey Coachella like experience be? Like, you could pinball like dope Coachella.
Yeah, for sure. That would be
great. So some like Red Bull sponsored like retro arcade.
That would be dope. That would be honestly dope.
But yeah, I think so. For me, I think what's interesting about pinball is when I come to it, it's like we're competing against each other, trying to get these like points off each other. But then when it comes down to it, we're both competing against this machine, right? So you're kind of psyching that this is doing really well, even though we're like head to head.
Yeah.
So it's like this weird, like bonded together, but still in competition that is like unlike a lot of other sports that I've ever been.
There are a lot more attaboys in pinball than anything else. Like I played a lot of pool for a brief period, and everyone played, so they're all at like it's just how it is. Yeah. I mean, there's some individuals, but the game is filled with assholes. So it is filled that way.
And I know there's no coaching in pinball. I'm not going to say anything.
I know. Yeah. Like, I don't want to tell you, but I can't. I fell in love with Lynn's Arcade because I saw their camaraderie in when they played tournaments and stuff. Like we came down there to check out the spot for one of their Thursday night strikes night, and everyone was like high-fiving and hugging, and like people in the 4-player battle after their games, they're still like cheering each other on. And you don't actually get that in all pinball communities, especially like in the tournament section. It's a lot more like quiet and reserved, sort of like golf. Like you
don't get out,
bother the person. But like at Lynn's, someone like unlocks the multi-ball and is about to like do all this crazy shit. Everyone in the arcade's like, get it. And I love that so much.
Yeah. Right. exact experience is what I had at Lynn's, which is why this place here, 9 3/4 exists. Because I wanted that for my community and my friends. I was like, damn, it's so rad what they're doing on there. Like, I want that here.
It's almost like a sister community though, really though. It is because we have such a lot of bleed in from down in Monterey, down the side. And then of course there's the usual suspects up here that won't drive down that far, right?
Totally.
So you kind of have you just have the mesh of kind of two different communities. I think that what's interesting too is that the folks that come up from Lynn's rather have made the folks that just play up here a whole lot better because they were getting smoked in tournaments initially, right?
The dojo.
Now it's getting a lot more even.
Out to the bay, dude.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that energy too. And when we opened up Captain Crazy's Paradise, that was an important thing to me too. We have a very young pinball community down there in Lower Alabama on the Gulf Coast. And the important thing that, when we started doing leagues and tournaments was like, bring that energy. We're high-fiving each other. We're clapping for each other. I wanted to keep that too, because it makes it so much more fun. Like, you don't want to play pinball and it's just like everyone's just super serious. Another cool shout out to a cool community, and what they do is over at Wedge in Portland, they have this format called Howdy Partner. And it's the coolest pinball format ever because all four of you are like working together to get a high score, and it brings that kind of like a group synergy as well. And there's like learning involved and stuff with it too, and helping each other. I just love stuff like that.
I can totally see that. Yeah, that's amazing. I'm a big fan of anything where there's a lot more, especially listening to how many podcasts there are out now.
Yeah, it's a big podcast.
There's a lot of new, there's a lot of new games and modes and tournaments that structures rather that are coming out that all have either some element of encouragement or some element of like sniping, but for fun. And I think that that's so cool that because the community is growing so much, we're actually getting more ways to play, especially with people that we see almost every week usually, right? So having those new games can be a whole lot of fun and just a different way to play the game.
I mean, I love that Din has. Yeah, that's how we play a lot of times. Like the one hand.
Yeah, totally. Pinball Olympics and stuff, Stiley. It's super fun. You just reminded me of going back to that dream collab, because I've always, on the side things, I've always been passionate about the homebrew and custom games community. And again, working with Marco as their marketing director, we've been able to help support that community even more. But I remember in like 2016 or 17, Scott Denisi brought Total Annihilation. There wasn't a nuclear in it yet.
Right.
To Texas Pinball Festival. It was a whitewood. He had Sharpie all over it. That was the art. And dude, we created a line at that game and everyone was around it and being like, this game slaps. It's so amazing. And I interviewed Scott there and he was like, I just wanted to create a game that would be fun to play with my friends. So it has the co-op mode, but it also has the ball stealing mode. So it's that, and it's fast. So it's that super high energy. Like you're not waiting like 30 minutes between balls because someone is stacking moves like and it's just that fun, fast gameplay. And I just loved that so much. And that opened my eyes to me like, oh, like this is so much like indie filmmaking. Where, Stern and JJP are like the big studios making games, making movies. Yeah. But then you have like the indie folks that it's like one person can make a really awesome pinball machine and make a huge wave with it. And like Keith Elwin came from that homebrew community, Jack Danger and stuff too. So I think my dream collab would be to make a custom pinball machine with Scott Denisi and Jack Danger. And get a stamp of approval from George Gomez. Hit all this. Check all the boxes.
If you get the stamp, you can pretty much guarantee that they're going to market it at that point because that means they can manufacture it.
That's definitely what I'm doing here. It's like Scott Denasi, dude. That album he released with that was so radical and just like that vaporwave and thing. I was like, I'm going to do that too, you know? So now it's like for me making a couple pinball machines and like, I'm just going to make all the music and sounds for it. And that's like a reason for me to play with all my music equipment and put this.
That's the other thing too. Yeah. Scott's an awesome DJ and he does like analog DJing with like the knobs and stuff too.
Yeah. 100%.
So cool. He goes to like KnobCon and performs. Another dream collab that it's just if we had all the time in the world, I'd love to VJ for him during one of his sets.
I gotta stop.
Provides the trippy pinball visuals behind him while he's actually DJing at a show is definitely one of my
something right there.
Bucket list dreams.
More live performances at pinball events would be great. You know, I mean, like I'm starting to see more and more actual like just. I mean, and I'm sure it varies by region, but like there seems to be more and more like just music being played, which is something that wasn't really happening initially. Like you just kind of had the ambient sounds of the machines, which is fine. I could listen to that all day, but it would be interesting if it was something where it was like, you know, if there were like multiple stages at pinball events where you're like, hey, okay, we got some something serious to listen to.
Crank up the music.
Yeah,
if you come to Houston Arcade Expo, if you haven't been to that show, that's a very special show. And it's in mid-November, and they have live bands playing in the arcade hall. The lights are all turned off, and we're just lit by pinball machines and arcade games and lasers and RGB par cans and stuff.
That's all.
So it has that cool, like, arcade, 80s arcade vibe with the live music, and everyone's partying and stuff. And the arcade hall never closes.
That's rad.
You know, you could be up there like 5 a.m. still playing pinball, jamming. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I'm hoping to make it to a lot more live events in the coming years. I spent my past about 20 years on the road myself. I was a pro wrestler, so I was not really ever in one town for longer than 5 minutes either. But so yeah, I really haven't really had the opportunity to like keep a schedule outside of my previous life schedule. But I am definitely looking forward to, if not Expo this year, then I'm definitely heading to Indisc to kick off some travel.
Yeah, Indisc is
that
great.
should be fun.
I love going to Indisc. But you should definitely come to Expo. We have a lot of cool stuff planned. Last year at Expo, we were able to help host 40 custom games. Like homegrown custom games. And this year we're already up to 50, maybe more people coming and bringing out their games. It's just super exciting and then, you know, creating a space for them to show it off to people. And it's going to be like the coolest pinball science fair ever.
Yeah, that is fucking incredible. I gotta say.
I call them adult tire almonds, right? It's like in kindergarten, you make the little things, and I'm like, dude, this is just an adult version of that.
It is.
And I'm like, there's no reason this can't turn into like high.
It totally is.
My vision of this is like, I'm gonna have some of these machines at like Art Basel in Miami, dude, and they're like 250,000.
Yeah.
Junkyard out of a clawfoot tub with a tube TV in the back. Dude, it's gonna be out of an actual junkyard.
Sounds awesome.
Like, someone wants to do it, please do
it.
Like actual junkyard.
Junkyard.
That is so great.
Oh. Well, listen, we definitely want to thank you so much again for coming on the program today. When I reached out and said, I know you're busy, like I did know you are busy, but after talking with you for 45 minutes, I'm like, damn, you are busy. Like you have some really questions.
No. It's time to chat pinball. That's the cool thing too, right? Like when you're hanging out with other pinball people, you can just chat pinball for hours and hours and hours. And it's so amazing. And then you talk to like one of your friends that like are into pinball and you're just kind of like, can't engage. So we just, we built it all up until moments like these where we could be like, let's talk about pinball. All the things.
Yep. That's exactly right.
So super fun.
That's exactly right. Just getting through a day of work is near impossible when no one else plays pinball.
My gosh.
You're like, okay.
Luckily, I don't experience that too much anymore. Pinball's 24/7.
So Emma, tell the people where they can find you.
Well, come to Pinball Expo for one. It's mid-October. I actually have the schedule up. October 15th to the 18th in Chicago. It's actually Schaumburg Illinois. It's a
Yeah.
really cool show. You
Maybe
can do
so.
factory tours and go see how, what is the saying? How the butter is made, how the bread is made, how the cake is made. What is it?
Yeah. How the sausage is made. How the sausage.
Freaking pinball sausage.
Is that where?
Yeah. You can see how they pack up all those sausages. It's a really cool show. Besides that, we try really hard to stream every Thursday for Pintech Live on Marco Pinball. You can find us on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook. Or if you find yourself down in Lower Alabama, come to Gulf Shores and visit me at the arcade. If you're coming to visit me, definitely shoot me a message first, like to imotoarcade@gmail.com, because chances are I might be on the road somewhere from here to there.
You have to run a dehu, like a dehumidifier in your arcade.
Man, no. Luckily, we don't. The central air and, the building structure is pretty good. But as soon as you walk out that door, especially in summertime, you're just sweat. The air is thick.
Yeah, I always worry about.
Yeah. Definitely don't put your pinball machines in non-climate controlled environments. Like if you're living out in the South and you just have your games in a garage, that's not climate controlled. That's no bueno for sure.
Yeah. It will work here.
Yeah. If you're from California, though, makes it all. If you go all the way from Cali to Bamalama and you do not go by the arcade down there, I know I will personally be upset. But anyways, thank you one more time for coming on the show, ladies and gentlemen. As always, this is Lawrence Adams and Dean Robley, and this time with Imoto Harney, saying, "May all your scores be high and may all your balls be extra." We will see you next time.